yeah, I'm really excited about today's topic. It is about art therapy. And a little disclaimer beforehand, because I know it says art therapy. I just want to point out I myself am not a licensed therapist, but I'm very passionate about just mental health and art, and I'm really excited to share with you guys what I learned so far. Um, Hi, hey Louie, it's really great to see you. I'm always happy to see people returning, and it always feels good to have the support that I have. Um, Also, I just wanted to mention, in case my headphones do die because I'm at my dad's for the holidays, the one thing from my stream that I forgot to pack was the charger to this. Uh, Hi, Liberace. I'm really glad that you could make it too. I know a lot of you guys are busy for the holidays, so the fact that you guys took the time to come in tonight really means a lot. Um, and Oh, what I wanted to mention, if my headphones for any reason do die and I don't have a good mic, then I will make this a two-parter. And hopefully then more people who maybe were too busy for the holidays can join in next time. So yeah, I'm really glad you guys came. How have you guys been, by the way? How are things going with you guys? I'm really excited to dive in here. Um, yeah, so, I there was a lot of things that I learned about art therapy that were there were things that I expected, and there were a lot of things that subverted my expectations. Louis says, "Good. It's been quite a week, but a long break is here." Well, it like a long week because of work. Um, and that's right, it is a holiday week, so I'm really glad. I hope all of you guys get a nice long break from work or school, and get to go into a nice turkey coma tomorrow from all the tryptophan. I don't know if is that like a myth? Is that a real thing that you get tired from tryptophan? Yeah, work is pretty crazy lately. Oh, um, is it just because like of a new project, or since you're an introvert, have a lot of your coworkers been overwhelming you with questions, or is it other things? Thanksgiving is here, and I'm planning to jump from my family's place to my BF's place and hop back to the apartment for pie with my sister. Lots of jumping tomorrow. Oh, well, that'll be really nice. And that's cute that you're taking time to go back and have some pie with your sister. I'm really glad that you're gonna be able to have a full day and hanging out with everybody. Yeah, it's really good to see you guys. Um, it's actually not been overwhelming, but there's a lot to do. An update for to our software launches Monday. It has big changes, so a little nerve-wracking. Oh, oh, geez. Well, I'm glad that you came today, and hopefully we can decompress from all of the stress of the work week. You know what? I know this sounds so corny, but let's just take a moment to just take a deep breath and just listen to the calm music and just. You deserve to feel this kind space, and this is your time to just decompress from all of the stress you've been feeling and to not worry about what's upcoming. This is just nothing can harm you right now. This is just a safe space to just be glad and be calm. We're going to be talking about art therapy today. And there's a lot that I was wrong about, because whenever I first heard about art therapy, I thought it was just, oh, if you do mindful coloring, uh, you know, it's therapeutic. And I thought, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. But the more I learned about art therapy, the more I actually had several breakthroughs where I cried because I was like, it was such an emotional experience for me. And I'm really excited to share with you guys what I learned and the projects I did. And hopefully you might want to actually do them at home and can feel the same feelings that I felt and the same catharsis. Um, and art therapy is really great for people who maybe couldn't afford therapy otherwise too, because you can do art therapy in the comfort of your own home, and you can do it, watching some YouTube videos or just learning some different techniques. And you don't have to be an artist, which is amazing, and it's affordable also because the all of the projects I picked to do today are with materials you could find around the house. And I did that purposely because I don't want anybody to feel like they have to go out and spend a bunch of money uh, just to find this piece. I'd rather you be able to pick up some crayons and paper and be able to express yourself. So, how many of you have heard of art therapy? And if you have you ever tried it? And I'm really curious to see what you guys say about it, because I'm really curious what your guys' maybe preconceived notions of it are, if you guys think positively of it, or if you think it works or not. I'm really interested to hear what you think of it, especially before we dive in, because um, when when you were working on a piece of art, were you getting lost in thought and dive deep into your thoughts, or did it help you decompress and kind of forget about the world for a bit? That is a great question, actually. It made me dive deep into my thoughts. And it was sort of both, cuz the calming strokes of just coloring and picking out the colors and feeling everything with my hands, it brought me into the present moment while also feeling my emotions. So it really did both. Um and it was decompressing, and I had a friend, which I'll show you me drawing it too. I took overhead videos, and the friend that recorded them, I explained what I did afterwards, and in doing that, I just started like just breaking down crying because it was such an emotional experience, like actually verbalizing it. But the beauty of art therapy is you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. You can just draw, and it could just be safe on that paper. Um, Louis says, I'm excited to try it as a non-artist and be able to share my feedback with you. Also, I've never heard of art therapy before. It seems believable. I just never consider it. See, that's really interesting to me. I had thought that more people would have heard of art therapy, so I'm really excited to introduce a new concept. Liberace says, we used to do paint by numbers with my mom, and it was great quality time that was low stress. I'm not sure if that counts as art therapy, but it was decompressing and nice. Actually, that is a great point. So I was wondering, oh, excuse me, I was wondering the same thing, and from what I learned, art therapy, it's only an art therapy exercise if it was designed by by a licensed art therapist that specializes in the field, which I did not know, because going into this I tried to create my own stuff, and then the more I learned about it, I was like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. So then that's why I started doing more research, because I really I really try to be thorough with it when I bring it to you guys. But I think that's amazing that you were able to do that, and I think, like, color by numbers or adult coloring books or whatever it is you like to do to calm down, like, even if that's not quote unquote art therapy, that still is therapeutic and it has value. Is this your bedroom? No, this is actually my dad's bedroom. I am visiting for the holidays. I was trying to cover up his, like, Cowboys pillows, and we were like, what are we gonna do? Because we can't let stream people see your like, I don't know why. We were trying to make it look fancy, so we were, like, rapidly throwing, like, fancy pillows up. But yeah, this is my dad's room, and he is a Cowboys fan. So, so yeah. Where's my water? Did I just fling it off of the bed? Oh yeah, I flung it under the pillow and while I was flipping things around. Yeah. Also, Poison, thanks for coming, and it's great to see you. How have you been? Um, Let me see real quick. I'm gonna check my notes. Oh, some of the things that art therapy can help with, are, I'm gonna get a little bit clinical with some of the words for a second, but it can help with cognition, self-awareness, self-esteem, insight. It can reduce conflict, enhance social skills, and improve motor function. So an example of this is Actually, I was with a friend the past week, and she was telling me that she had anger issues, and I really related to this because I think I have a tendency at times to let my anger bubble up. And I did an exercise about this. So, or it's called the Anger Iceberg, and we'll get into this later, but it really, I can reflect back to it now whenever I am angry. Even though I'm not drawing it, I can reflect back to it and redo the exercise in my mind. And it helps me calm down. And I never thought that I would find a solution like that for my anger. And it's not foolproof. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to keep practicing it. I'm always going to reference that BoJack Horseman quote. It's that you got to do it every day, and that's the hard part. But every time it gets easier. Um, so there's different types of art therapy, and there's group and individual. And so group therapy is good if you're like me and you're an extrovert. But Louie, I know that you're an introvert. Uh, so maybe you might like something more like individual group therapy, doing it by yourself. But maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I'm curious to hear from all of you guys. Do you think you would benefit more from doing art therapy with a friend, or do you think you would benefit more from doing it just by yourself as like a solemn thing? For me, it helped to show it to a friend because in expressing it and verbalizing it, because I think that's how I operate better. I think that was helpful for me. I was thinking the exact thing. I was like, individual, tell me more. Oh my gosh. See, I love how like it's like we're on the same wavelength. Um yeah, I'm glad. I hope that I'm really excited to dive into this. I know that I'm doing a big long intro explaining all of this, but I really wanted to lay a firm foundation for what it is before I showed some of the exercises. Um but it doing it with a friend really helped me get a good cry out. And there's different forms of art therapy too. Like there's dance, there's music, and then there's visual art therapy as well. So, out of dance or create or playing music or drawing, what do you guys think is the best way to express yourselves? Like, what would you feel more comfortable with? Even if it's not like playing music, like you're jamming out on a guitar or piano, like just listening to music or whatever, or dancing to songs or coming up with your own dances, or like what kind of things do you feel help you express yourself and help you find that peace? Sort of in the vein of what Liberace was talking about, just something that's mindful and meditative. Again, I know that that sort of is in a different category than like art therapy. I'm sure there is dance things that are specifically designed by art therapists, but it's completely, absolutely valuable to just take that time to do something creative, even if it isn't under a certain umbrella, because catharsis is catharsis. I like drawing because it's focused and meditative. Dancing is a bit haphazard for me because I'm not spatially tuned. I love that phrase and I'm gonna start using it. Spatially tuned. I feel like lately, at first I read that as I feel like stinky. I don't know why. I feel like lately, since I've been doing more 3D animating, my favorite thing to do is record the reference footage and act out the parts because I always like to make it a bit funnier and more dramatic. I might be a little stinky. Oh, you're so cute. I love you. Um, yeah, actually, that is a great technique too to do with animation. I think I remember going into the animation studio after I had graduated, going back to school and just checking out the studio and seeing people like do things like this, and I'm like, "Hey, you acting out an animation?" And they're like, "Yeah," and then I'm thinking, "All right, cool. They're not crazy. Just wanted to check." Uh, um, I almost got in trouble at my last animation job whenever I asked somebody to tumble on the floor so I could record them so I could animate a ferret rolling out of a slide. You gotta do what you gotta do. Um, Also, in the vein of artistic abilities, for those of you, even though because I mentioned art therapy a little bit last week that we would be diving into it. How has your judgment of your own artistic abilities made you feel about the idea of trying art therapy? And I hope it brings you some comfort now also to know that it's okay if you're not, Picasso or whatever. For some reason, all other artists blanked from my mind. Da Vinci. Okay, see, I spent a week in Oregon and I went a little hard on the marijuana, so I think my word recall in my short-term memory has been not as good. I'm detoxing it from it now. Um, but yeah. Um, so I think we talked a little bit about preconceived notions of art therapy and how it helps people. It also, yeah, that's another thing. It helps people who can't articulate themselves as well. Because talk therapy is really good for people who are good at verbalizing how they feel. But art therapy is good for people who can't. And uh, actually, there was a story. So I downloaded a bunch of videos on the plane ride before the plane ride home from Oregon, and there was an art therapist talking about her success of working with this little girl, and it was so sad. I literally was crying on the plane and taking my mask up, trying to wipe my tears and hide it from the person next to me so he didn't think I was crazy. Um, but the art therapist talked about this girl who was 3 years old, playing on the balcony of her home, and she lived in a bad neighborhood, and a stray bullet from a drive-by shooting came up and hit her in the leg, and it was so traumatic for her that her like trauma response to that was to just not talk to anybody but family, which is called selective mutism. So even taking her to a therapist was so difficult because she couldn't talk to anybody. So whenever they tried art therapy, after enough sessions, this little girl, when she was 5, she started being able to talk to people again. Oh my god, that's an amazing username. Diarrhea ASMR. I like how we're talking about something serious and I can't talk about poop without smiling or laughing. Thank you for the follow, Diarrhea ASMR. Um I like that emoji. That looks like my dad. um I missed a couple of messages from the chat. My bad, you guys. Liberace said, we always used to have a fake battle axe in our computer lab for reference footage. Always a treat. That is fucking amazing. That is really scary for anyone, let alone a little kid. Oh yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, like, little kids are very resilient. So for a kid to go into that response is very heartbreaking. So the fact that art therapy was able to help her, like I said, I was literally crying on the plane being like, this is so hopeful and beautiful. So yeah, I'm really excited to show you guys the exercises I did. I feel like I feel like it's like when you're at a concert and you're like so excited for the opening band, but all of the like bands that you don't know are playing and you're just so excited to like get into it. And that's what I feel like I'm at in the stream, where it's like I want to lay the foundation, but I'm so excited to show you guys the stuff that I made. And maybe next stream, if you guys tried any of these, I'd love to hear what you learned from it, and what your experiences were. But yeah, another thing is with art therapy is that people get tired of telling their story all the time and talking about the horrible things that happen to them. And with art therapy, you can project what's inside without reliving the experience again, which I think is beautiful. Nice sweater and hair, great combination. Oh, thank you. My friend did this, and believe it or not, she's self-taught. It's a little brighter, I think, off camera. It's a little faded right now, though, too. Also, this shirt was $25. It's a little short, too, but I wore high-waisted jeans, and that's how I get away with wearing tiny clothes. But thanks for the compliment. Yeah. Also, I appreciate you guys being so active in the chat. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. also, from what I've been saying so far, what are your thoughts on art therapy from what you've learned so far? Um, and also, how do you feel in knowing that art therapy can help you project what's inside without reliving the experience again? Um, I'm curious, like, how do you feel about your ability to articulate yourself? And in what ways could art therapy be beneficial to you expressing yourself? Much like that little girl, uh, I think if you can find a way to get through trauma without having to retell that story, because the way our brain works is when you have a traumatic experience and you remember that years and years later, you don't always just remember it from that memory. That synapse gets stronger. That loop or whatever in your brain that remembers that gets stronger and stronger every time you tell that story. So sometimes by telling that story over and over again while you think it might heal you, it's actually solidifying that memory even harder in your brain. Are you a professor? No, I am not a professor. I want to make actually that's a great question. I want to make it clear to you guys. I am not like a licensed therapist. This is something that I'm very passionate about. I love learning about psychology. I did go to school for art, for animation. But all of this stuff that I look up, it's not just out of my ass. I'm looking up like reliable sources. I look up, actual art therapists. So I do bring, even though like I don't have a degree in this specific sort of stuff, I am bringing to the table information that is backed up. I have difficult experiences from my childhood, but I can't say for sure that they were traumatic. It might just be regular old anxiety. Cool. Um, yeah, Louie, I think, well, it says maybe I could learn something from art therapy exercises. Oh, absolutely. I've been going through a lot of difficult stuff lately, and it's kind of hard to get into, because sometimes it's hard for me to be personal on the stream to get too deep, but, those of you who know me IRL know some of the stuff I've been going through, and this stuff has really helped me. Um, I'm traumatized for all the homework I got over the last 2 decades. Are you able to heal me? And again, the emoji that inexplicably looks like my dad. I can't get over that. Um, well, actually, this sounds crazy, but I relate to feeling trauma. Like, I don't, I don't want to like exaggerate, but like I do relate to that feeling of being so overwhelmed by homework, because I went to a school where they would give so much homework that I was actually having panic attacks before I knew what panic attacks were. Like I would just stop being able to breathe and didn't know why. So as far as am I able to heal you, as much as I wish I had like magic Jesus powers to heal everybody or something, I'm unable to. um, I think that I can give you tools. I'm hoping to be able to give you the tools to work towards being at a place where you feel like you're healing yourself. You can heal yourself. And if you really have gone through something traumatizing, like I really encourage you to, if you can, like go to therapy. And for those of you who can't afford therapy, I talked to a licensed therapist today, what I could tell people who can't afford it, and she said if you go online, look up your city and type in like nonprofit therapy or sliding scale therapy, they're more likely to offer you therapy at just whatever you can pay instead of exorbitant amounts. I'm deaf first degree traumatized after this Thanksgiving break. I got 40-page paper to do in 1 week. Jesus Christ. Wow. Well, that is insane. Yeah, I could definitely, I'd feel the same way, dude. I'd be like freaking crying on on the floor, just balled up if I had to deal with that. So I definitely understand how stressful that is. Sounds good, man. Yeah. I hope that I hope that you guys, if you guys are interested in finding therapy, I hope that that info helps. Yeah. Um, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit and get into I'm gonna briefly mention like the I because I thought this was interesting. Normally I don't find history interesting, but I thought it was cool to learn that art therapy came after two world wars to help soldiers with PTSD in the UK and USA because the facilities were overstretched. And so the fact that like these soldiers who'd seen fucking, death and war and all this fucked up shit were able to do these nice little pictures and it helped them. I thought that was really fucking cool. Have you guys ever heard of anything like that? Like I did you ever know that kind of stuff? I thought it was really interesting. Um and I'm curious like how have you guys Liberace mentioned a little bit of this, but how have you guys used art to help you cope? I know prior to this, I wrote a song to get me through some of the hangups I had from my childhood. Oh, excuse me, I just like burped into the mic. I'm gross. But it really helped after that, and I like sang the song to my friend with like a straight face because like at that point I had gotten through to it, but my friend started crying, and I'm like, oh no, like, but however you express yourself through art, I would love to hear what mediums you use. Liberace mentioned she does the painting by numbers thing. That's Bob Ross's background. I don't remember which war, but he had to work through anger issues and trauma after military experience, so he turned to art. Wow, you know what? That's really interesting. I've been meaning to watch that documentary because it looks so freaking cool. I really should. Um, maybe we could watch it sometime. But yeah, that's I did know he was in the military, but I never put two and two together and realized like that was why he got into art to cope with that. So, that's really fascinating. Um, I'm also curious. So, I mean, we talked about Bob Ross. He had to recover from the military, like what he had went through in the military. Do you have things in your life? And I know, diarrhea ASMR. I can't say that without smiling. I'm trying to say it with a straight face, but every time I say diarrhea, I'm like a 5-year-old. um, but I know you mentioned about the paper. I'm curious, what other things do you have in your life? Do you guys have in your life that you think you'd benefit from art therapy with? Also, towards the end of the stream, I'm going to be talking about what therapists call the 10 questions to get to the root of any problem. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to use that so that whenever you go do like independent research for art therapy, like if you want to go online and be like, oh, what kind of technique could I use for eating disorder or whatever it is, or like lack of intimacy or like whatever. I'm just like trying to like think of lists that were in the top 10 in the 10 questions list, but yeah, if there's anything that you can think of off the top of your head that you would like to cope through using art therapy, let me know. So I'm gonna show you guys a video of an art therapy exercise that I did. And so this was called the Anger Iceberg. And this is something that really helped me with my anger issues. So the anger iceberg is you draw an iceberg. Actually, hold up. Boom. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, there we go. Now I'm pointing the right direction. I figured out how to do this shit. So, oh, I could have made it full screen, but I did not do that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so the way that the anger iceberg works, I'm gonna like skip through this because I should have like fast forwarded it. But basically, oh wait, this is a different one. That's the one where you draw a person and put things inside of it. Oh, wait, maybe that's later in this. My friend recorded this and he sent it to me, so, oh, here we go. Perfect. So, as you can see here, it's upside down, but if you've ever seen a picture of an iceberg online, I'm sure all of you, if you haven't, let me know, but I'm sure all of you guys have seen that picture where it's an iceberg and it's got a teeny tiny top that looks pretty big, but then the bottom is like fucking massive underwater, and you don't see that. And that is actually, if I'm talking too loud, let me know. That is actually how anger works. Is sometimes all we see is the anger, but there's all these emotions underneath it that we're not addressing because we're so focused on the anger. And on the flip side of that, sometimes we see somebody else that's exploding in anger and we're like, why are they so angry about this? But they're having all of these other feelings underneath the anger iceberg that it can help us be more empathetic too, to look at what might be underneath their anger iceberg. So for my anger iceberg, what I was drawing, I drew lots of spikes at the top of it, and I wrote anger in the middle, because that's where the anger is located. I drew a lot of spikes, and that represents the hurt that I cause other people when I'm angry. And the spikes on the inside represent the hurt that I cause to myself whenever I explode in anger. And I used a lot of reds and warm colors because that helped to represent like the heat and the just the heated anger that I felt. And the reason I swirled it was that was meant to represent like how my anger perpetuates itself. Because whenever, and let me know, like, do you guys ever feel this way whenever you're angry, that like you just keep getting sucked back into it? Like maybe you might think, oh, this person's upset, but no, I'm right, and you can't shake that. Like, do you guys feel that, or do you feel like whenever you start getting angry, it just sucks you in and it just becomes this perpetuating thing? And do you guys relate to whenever you feel angry, do you feel like you hurt other people? Do you feel like you hurt yourself? Do you feel like that's more visible to other people, or is your response more to shut down? Yeah, it festers and it doesn't feel good. Well, I think it takes a lot to be able to acknowledge that about yourself, that that's how your anger manifests itself. Liberace says, yes, I used to feel like I'd get upset with the same person all the time. It's really draining now, so I shut down more. Um, yeah, it I relate to that too, because like I love my dad, but sometimes like I'll get so much more heated with him than I will other people, because I'll think, well, I've had this argument before, or I feel minimized in these ways and stuff. Like actually right before the stream we had like a heart to heart talk, because like I had a bit of an anger iceberg earlier and sort of got very snippy, and we had a really good heart to heart after that. But I definitely understand what you mean about being angry at the same person all the time. Uh, and I'm wondering, do you relate to the idea of it being because like you've had the same, maybe do you think it was because you had the same issues with that same person over and over, that you were fed up with that same issue with that same person? Or was it like different things? Like in what ways do you think it might have contributed to being with that same person? Um, oh, I'm gonna play some of the video while we talk. Um, oh, if you see me blinking a lot, it's because I have an eye infection from wearing contacts, so I might have to step off screen at some point to put drops in. I think so. The same issues I get draining, but if it's a new issue, I think I'll get heated quicker. Okay. Well, I hope you know that if you ever feel that, like, you can always, like, come to me. I'll never be upset if you're angry with me. Like, I would so much rather you come to me and tell me. And hell, we could do an anger iceberg together if it would help you. Here I'm drawing rough waters because, and it's splashing up and it's sort of causing a storm and affecting all of the things around me. Because that's how I feel my anger is if I feel angry, I feel like I put that energy on everybody else. And I really don't like that I do that. And it's really something I'm working on changing. And you can even see in my strokes, like I'm just like going at it. And whenever you guys might draw your anger iceberg, like, do you think you might express yourselves? Like, what colors do you think you might use? What kind of strokes do you think you might use? Um, okay. Liberace says, so the bottom of the anger iceberg is how you feel you act towards people when angry. Um, it's the bottom of the anger iceberg is the feelings you feel underneath. So, the anger iceberg that I did, I used the time that I had most recently gotten very angry. Yeah, the underneath feelings are the stuff that maybe you're not addressing. Because anger is sometimes our shield. It makes us feel safe. I did something really stupid in front of a big group of people and I felt really embarrassed. And rather than letting myself feel embarrassed or feel ashamed, I was just projecting that into anger because I didn't want to feel vulnerable. It didn't feel good. So it just came out in this explosive anger. Which is why I'm drawing the stormy clouds, because it just turned into this big storm, and it really did just affect everything around me. My anger is also corrosive to myself and those around me. Oh, sorry, I missed your other message, Louie. I'm seeing a lot of violet in mine. I can become subtly angry. There's a blend of how I want to act, blue, and how my emotions are driving me to act, red. Oh, I really like that. Look at me getting all cozy in the bed. um, I'm getting a pretty clear picture of what mine would look like. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. And I love how you're explaining what colors you would use, because I think like I'm really excited for you guys to try this yourselves at home, or even just hearing about what you think you might use, because it really helps me to know that this is translating well and that it's being explained well. So you'll notice here I'm using some like brighter colors at the bottom here, and I use like pinks and oranges and yellows, and that was supposed to be like a pretty sunset, but I'm ruining the beauty of it around me by letting my anger bring in this storm, which goes in line with what you're talking about, Louie, that corrosive anger that does that to yourself and those around you. Like, I completely relate to that. And so actually here is whenever I started to, dive deeper into the anger iceberg of like, okay, what was underneath those feelings? So like, also, if any of you guys feel comfortable opening up about something you got angry about, and like in the chat, and talking about what you think might be underneath your anger iceberg in that moment, I'd be really happy to hear from you guys. In this instance, the experience I had was on the flight home. I lost my boarding pass. I got all the way to the front of the line, and they said, do you have your boarding pass? And I was the only fucking person that didn't have it out. And I tried going through all my shit, and I'm the type of person where I'm already always losing things. And I just felt so much self-hatred because it's like, oh, I did it again. And everybody can see it. And I felt like I fucked up. And I was holding up everybody behind me because I fucked up. And then I got on the floor, like, digging through my stuff, and the lady asked, like, okay, can you move out of the way? And I felt even more embarrassed because it's like, oh, but I'm being an inconvenience to everybody else. I suck. I don't want it to be my fault anymore. I'm just going to be really angry. And I started being like, fuck, shit, like, out loud, like, in front of people, just swearing. And it's like, I just felt like, in retrospect, it's so embarrassing that is this still going? The hell? Oh, there we go. It felt so embarrassing looking back, but it was so difficult. And so some of the emotions I wrote here was, oh, holy shit, I made it full screen. Wow, I am a fucking grandma. The emotions I wrote here were fear, because I was afraid of everybody thinking I was stupid, shame, and embarrassment, because I just felt embarrassed for fucking up. And I felt hurt because I had spent time with a friend prior to this who uh, knows that I am forgetful, and she kept pointing it out. And if I messed up, or if I lost something, or if I didn't do something the right way, she was pointing it out a lot. And so, um, and I talk things out with that friend, and I'm not gonna, name any names or make it seem like she's, any kind of way. But I was feeling hurt by that. So whenever I messed up again, it sort of brought back into my mind, like, hey, you're a fuck up. And so I was just feeling hurt from what had happened prior with my friend too. Um, and so I made like little rainy things, and self hatred. I was doing like hard X's, like crossing myself out. Fear was red. I think fear is like one of the most toxic emotions because it makes us do really terrible things. And I think that's most common. One of the emotions that's under the anger iceberg. Um, I can relate to in that airport experience sounds really painful. Oh, thank you. I actually thank you guys so much. Like it feels really good to hear somebody validate that because like even explaining it, I'm like, "Oh, this is probably going to sound stupid." So like to hear you guys say, "Hey, I can understand why you would feel that way and it sounds painful." Like that means a lot. um and around the embarrassment and shame, I put them in blue to mean sadness. And like anything that related to sadness, I was using a lot of blue. Anything that related to anger, it was very like warm colors. But I put these boxes around embarrassment and shame, and I put locks on them, and down below I put a key. And that is like I want to lock myself away, I want to hide myself away, and the key is sinking into the abyss. Um, and so the way to get myself out of that, it just keeps sinking deeper and deeper the more I let myself feel that anger. And let me know if you guys like relate to that. Like, do you feel like the more you guys shut off, the more it spirals, or in what ways might you shut down if you're angry? Um, Liberace, I'm gonna read your comment in a second after I take a little sippy sip. I feel so guilty for using plastic bottles. I normally don't, but I didn't want to spill it all over my dad's bed. I have been upset with myself lately because I have not been on top of working the right amount lately. My to-do list is so long now that I'll get angry if I try to get one thing done and it doesn't go well. Holy shit, I fucking totally get that actually. Like, I completely understand that feeling where you just want to get some stuff done and it should be just a simple thing and you think maybe this is just going to take a few minutes or maybe an hour, and then just one fucking thing that should be the most simple thing keeps tripping you up, and it's just like if you're like whenever I do a project or something and something won't import right and I'm doing it the right way and it's not working, I'm like, what the fuck? And I get so angry because it's like I should have been done with this ages ago. So it's like I totally understand. I like feel that on a molecular level, that feeling that just wanting to get something done so you can move on to the next thing, but that thing taking so much longer, um just feeling like it's sucking you in. And honestly, I think I'm wondering, how do you feel about doing an art exercise, this sort of art exercise? Because I'm hoping you could benefit from it because it sounds like you're hard on yourself. It sounds like if there's a point where maybe things aren't working out or you're not fixing that problem as fast as you wanted to, it's like you're still trying. And you know I know it's hard in that moment, and I'm a hypocrite because I do the same thing, but just know that you're strong, and for just trying to get it done, even if it's not getting done. um the way that Jacob had explained it to me is like it's like it's sort of like when you're in a video game, right? And maybe you come across a box that you can't break open, and you have to go through all of, and you're like, oh, I just want to break open this fucking box, and maybe you have to go through all parts of this level to find the hammer to break open this box, but that's normal. And or it's like a skill bar that slowly loads up, and it's not going to shoot up right away. I hope this analogy is helping. I feel like I'm kind of butchering it because he did a lot better of a job at explaining it as me. Um, oh, I missed some of your other messages. I'm sorry, you guys. So that piling up of things to do just adds to the shame because I feel like I should have my stuff together. So when I'm disorganized, it's a rough time. I'm embarrassed to when I don't get things done. Yeah, I think you're really hard on yourself. I mean, because it's like, you are trying, and I understand though. Like I said, I relate to that feeling. Um, and you've been going through a lot, and I know that. Like, you know, you've been working so fucking hard lately, and I mean, you've been in the chat before, and you've talked about like all of the things you're doing, and you're putting yourself through school, and you're working on top of that, and you're like, see, like, look how aggressive my scribbles are, they're so angry. But you're doing a lot, and it makes sense why that would be so overwhelming. But you're trying, and you're pushing through, and just the fact that you're making an attempt and being resilient and keeping pushing forward, that's the beauty of what you're doing. That's so much. It's so valuable that you're still trying, even though it's pushing you down. Louis says, I can shut down completely, but the problem becomes worse when I don't get things done. Oh wait, sorry, I merged two things. I can shut down completely, but the problems get worse in the meantime. I'll get walloped with a wall of shame and anxiety whenever I notice the problem again. Oh. Oh, I'm bumping things. Yeah, it's really hard when our response is to shut down because, I've had friends like that where I reached out to a friend recently because I wasn't hearing back, and he would cancel on plans or things like that, and I messaged him. I'm like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he was telling me he was going through a big depression and losing motivation to work, and that just more and more pain was making it harder and harder for him to work. And it kind of also, it sounds like that's kind of what both of you are going through. Liberace, you're talking about how it's hard to work because, anytime something like piles on, it feels like it's just futile. Liberace says, I think with the massive stuff, see, there's that I thing again. That I think with the massive stuff that I have to do, it's stressing me out so much that I don't get it done. So maybe an iceberg drawing would help me sort out some of the needs down on paper. Well, I'm really glad that you feel like would help you, and I really hope that you do that. I really hope that you guys do this exercise. And again, for any of you guys that joined in, the Anger Iceberg is about identifying feelings that are underneath your anger, like fear or guilt or whatever it could be. So if you want any more of if you want any more of guidance on it too, you could look up Anger Iceberg on YouTube and follow along with those as well. Yeah, for sure, Liberace. It can be challenging to feel like we've regressed. I hear you, Louie, when it feels like you've taken a step back, or have you improved at all? I feel that. Well, also, this is one reason why I really love this is one of the many reasons why I really love this Twitch stream, because all of you guys come together and are supportive of each other and validate each other, and I'm really glad that this is the community we have. And it sounds like you guys are aw, little smiley face, little robot smiley. Yeah, I love your guys' positivity, and I'm really glad that even though when we're going through dark times and we're going through difficult things, we can always be there for each other. Hugs. Hugs to you back. I love you guys. Um Here, I'm gonna uh let me pull up my little notesy notes real quick. Um some of the questions uh Actually, I was looking at some of the questions I was going to ask you guys before I moved on to the next exercise, and it looks like we talked about them a lot because you guys opened up a lot. So, uh, that actually is really helpful. And I'm gonna ask a few more questions before I go put eye drops in my eyes so I don't blink and bulge my eyes all weird on stream. um, yeah, some of the questions I was curious to hear from you guys is like, in what ways has your anger hurt yourself, or have you hurt others by your anger, and in what ways were those outbursts intentional? Um, and what times in your life have you been so angry that you purposely said something to hurt someone else? And if so, what was underneath your anger iceberg at the time? I know I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said that she was so jealous of her uh, relative who was wearing a crop top, because she had her own body insecurities, that she had said something mean on purpose to hurt that relative. Um, and so, and it makes it it kind of comes back to the mantra we've talked about before of hurt people. Um, and so know that you're not a horrible person if you've done that in the past, and as long as you're willing to grow and hey, you want to say hi? Come say hi. Come say hi. You got, oh my god, also there's an emoji somebody posted that looks like you. Come here, come here. Tell me that this emoji doesn't look exactly like you. Come here, come into screen. Doesn't that emoji look just like him? Come here. Look.
I can't get into the camera view here.
Here. Look, that emoji looks just like you, don't you think? He's got to put on his little reading glasses.
Oh yeah, that totally looks. Yeah, I've seen that one before. That's funny. I think I've used that before.
Oh, chat paused you to scroll. Oh, whoops. It does. All right. All right. Well, thank you for stopping in.
Wait. I can't even get in the picture.
Oh, are you trying to do the face of the emoji?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess I could have. Wait, let's see. Let's try to do it.
You gotta do it. Louis posting it. That's so funny.
Is he like, what's he doing?
He's going like this. He's going like this. So you gotta go with the screen here. Wait, I'll turn it towards you, and you gotta look up like curiously, like let's see if we can get it. This is complete.
Yeah,
yes, no, somebody screenshot it. Somebody screenshot it, please. It's an emoji of my dad. That's what that is from now on.
I can't get into the thing.
Oh, hey, Vifalcon. It's so good to see you. Livy Liberace got a screenshot of it. Perfect. All right. Okay, love you, Dad. See you. How have you been, V Falcon? It's good to see you here. I feel like I talk so loud into the mic. If I'm ever being really loud, I feel like that's just a trait in my family. We're loud people. So if I'm ever like talking too loud into the mic, don't be afraid to let me know. I'm just gonna scroll through my notes. Okay, cool. I'm gonna come over to here and show you guys the next exercise. Volume's good, even when you're quote unquote loud, it's really not loud at all. Good or loud. All Gouda cheese. I fucking love that expression. Here, I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna go squirt things into my eye for a moment, but I'm gonna do that off camera so people who are freaked out by that don't have to see me being gross, and also I have to look into a mirror to do it anyway. But this next exercise that I'm gonna show you guys is you draw the shape of a person, And because this is non-artist friendly, if you can manage to draw a little gingerbread guy, that is perfect as well. It doesn't need to have fingers. It doesn't need to have a perfect uh, anatomy or anything like that. If you draw your little gingerbread man, that is perfect. And so what you're gonna do in your little gingerbread man is you're going to, oh, sorry, the eye drops are coming out of my eyes and it looks like I'm crying. Um, Doing well. Gonna do some Thanksgiving traveling. Oh, nice. Is that tonight or are you gonna travel tomorrow? And I'm glad you're gonna go get to see some family. Well, assuming you're seeing family, whoever you're going to see, I'm glad you're getting out for the holidays. And if you're getting out, that means you're not doing the cooking, presumably. Seeing family tomorrow, yeah. Are they sticking you with the cooking, or are you weaseling out of it by being a guest? I know that's what I'm doing. I did not cook anything. The most I brought was some Hennessy that I got for free from a customer. Um, and it was a half-drink bottle. That's my contribution. Ew, I did a yucky slurpy sound in the mic. Oh well. Um, so, you draw your feelings in this little gingerbread man and what you feel is going on inside of you. So while the anger iceberg focuses more on what you're feeling when you're angry, this sort of focuses on your overall feelings of, what you're going through, but also who you are as a person. And so, what do you guys think you would draw inside your person? Yeah, mom's cooking, haha. Fuck yes. Dude, mom's always cooked the best stuff. I had to make sure my dad wasn't over there before I said that. Not that he's not a great cook, but let's be honest, mom's cooking, that's just a universal thing. Let me know if you guys agree. I mean, maybe I'm just blessed with a mom that can cook really well. Excuse me. Agreed. Good. Good. Yeah, so for my feelings, and I'm curious what you guys would draw in your person. So what I was doing is I drew a heart and I put a lot of warm colors in it because I feel like I have a really warm heart. And that's what I've been told. I'm not just trying to flex on myself and be like, yeah, I'm so nice. And the orange on the shoulders is a hug, and that represents the importance of just friendship and the people of my life, and that just kind touch of just I even cuddling pillows too, just that nice feeling. And the water on the head is sort of representative of if you think sort of like a baptism in forms of rebirth and change. I'm going through a lot of difficult changes lately, and I won't get too much into them, but it's been really hard, and so this water is washing over me, and sort of cleansing into something new, and this is just sort of accepting that change. Um, oh no, the video buffered. Boop. Um, And and again, if you guys think of any ideas of what you would put in your person, let me know. I hope this sort of gives you some inspiration because I know it can be so intimidating to look at that blank piece of paper and be like, I don't know what I feel. My mom makes a great Thanksgiving dinner. Also, I like that you put the heart first. I think I would do that too. There would be at least the same. There would be at least some math. Like the meme of the woman looking back and forth in geometry numbers. I love that because I'm always going over scenarios and trying to come up with solutions. That's a really good one that I didn't think about. I really like that. I'm really excited. I hope that you guys send me your art whenever you're done. I would really love to see what you guys create. I think, or even next week whenever you guys show up, if you tried these, even if you want to describe them or let me know what you discovered about yourself through it, or if you got a good cry out, or how it made you feel when you got it done. I'm so excited to hear from you guys after, like what you think that you're learning about yourself now. I'm really glad you guys are here for this. Um, I'd put lots of tears because I'm an easy crier. Aw, same, same. That now I need to go back into my person and put tears. Actually, I love that meme, Louis the Claw. I want to see that. Yes, please, please create that. The world wants to see it. Oh, I'm gonna pause it for a little bit for a second here. I may have to take a bathroom break in a minute. But the tree that's growing out of the heart, I've had a lot of pain recently, and the thing I'm getting out of it is through this pain that I'm experiencing is I'm growing. So I tried to put a tree coming out of it, and instead of just putting green leaves, I wanted to put pink, just soft, comfy colors, cozy colors, warm colors to express, like, it's a beautiful thing, even though I'm going through pain. There's a Dolly Parton quote. It's so funny because I read this the other day because Jacob said, if you want to know if a quote is dumb or smart, first read it in a British accent and then read it in a Southern accent. And if it sounds equally as smart in a Southern accent, then it's smart. And I looked up quotes on Google Images just to fuck around with it. And I read this one, and afterwards I saw who it was by, and it was by Dolly Parton. And I'm like, no wonder it sounds so good in a Southern accent. But it says, if you want to... in order to see the rainbow, you gotta put up with the rain. That wasn't my best Southern accent. I could do better, but I'm not gonna subject you guys to that. But yeah, do you guys think that, I thought maybe somebody sent something new. And if you guys relate to any of the things that I'm drawing in here too, I'd love to hear, the feet, I put grass on it because I feel like I'm down to earth and I'm trying to keep myself grounded also. Boop. And I started drawing the winds of change, which I learned from Rocco. It's the new Rocco's Modern Life movie. I had never heard that expression before. Actually, when I was done with this video, I showed what I drew to my friend, and as I got to the point when I was talking about the winds of change, and also, I thought I was about to do it here, but at some point I do a blue circle around the heart, and that's supposed to represent the sadness in my heart right now, because of all of the things I'm going through. But as I was talking about this to my friend, I actually just burst into tears, and I got really quiet, and it was a really cathartic experience. And I didn't think that was going to happen from an art therapy exercise. That's such a Southern sweet quote, too. I love it. Right? My God. Fucking, I love her. I put a lot of stormy clouds too because of the sadness going on, and but in relation to that beautiful Dolly Parton, am I saying her name right? Dolly Parton? Is that her name, or am I being goofy? But I'm putting in the rainbow because you gotta put up with the rain to get a rainbow. Yep, that's right. Okay, good. I'm glad I feel less silly. Anytime I do something on the screen, I make a noise, and then I just picture people being like, what is making that noise? And it's just my mouth sounds. So I'm curious, after seeing some of these things, this is when I put the sadness around my heart. Aww. I'm curious, what you guys think after seeing this that you might put into your person. If you have any ideas. It sounds like a lot of you guys came up with some good ideas already, putting in the fact that you're overthinking things, or trying to come up with solutions, or recognizing okay, I cry a lot, I'm an emotional person, that's okay. Oh, I put little. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I put little birds around the sadness to free my heart from the sadness. I've been going through a lot lately, you guys. I needed this so freaking bad. You don't even know. um, I'm gonna go. Oh, in relation to the tree being symbolic of pain helping me grow, I'm curious, are there things in your life? Can you think of times in your life where pain helped you grow? And how did it help you grow? And I know Louis said that he would draw the heart first. How might you draw your heart? Would you draw it with warm colors? Would you draw it with cold colors? Would you draw it big or small? Would you draw it guarded or open? And how might you use water to symbolize the emotions you're feelings? Would you use, I mean, Liberace said that she would use tears. I used it for change. You could use it for cleansing, or strength, because water, if you've ever seen a flood, you know how strong water can be. And how might you represent the way that pain in your life has helped you grow as a person? Oh, I missed some of your guys' messages. I'm gonna pause that for a second. I feel like I'd have a tiny heart, like a little kid's, because I feel like I'm a kid sometimes and I need a hug. Aw, I wish I could just like blue skidoo into the screen and give you a big hug. I'm gonna use that phrase from now on, blue skidoo into the screen. But just, you're getting a big, warm, giant internet squeeze from me. All of you guys, not just Liberace, but like all of you guys. I'm just group hugging all of you, squeezing you like your eyes are gonna pop out. Everyone needs a hug sometimes. Aw. And I think that's actually, I never would have thought of using a tiny heart to represent like a child, like a kid, being a kid at heart. I think my first thought went to, like, oh, feeling like your heart isn't big enough, but using that to represent something completely different, I love that. It's so cool to hear your guys' ideas and how you would use things to represent things in ways I wouldn't have even ever thought of before. Okay, sorry I missed some of your guys' messages. The next one was Louis says, aha, that's how the anxiety comes in. The heart is bright, but it's eclipsed by anxiety. Maybe something's casting a shadow on it. Oh. You guys are so creative. I really like your guys' ideas. And I was just talking with Jacob about how much fear can affect your life. That anxiety, it's really clouding your heart. And to be able to recognize that, I think I'm really glad that you're able to find a way to portray that artistically and even express that verbally in the chat. Dizzy the Bard says, I would almost definitely forget to draw the heart, and then a little me face. Aw, no, you have a big heart. You big bard, you have a heart. I'm gonna call you a big bard now, because of your username. Blue skidoo, I love that, and a heart. Aw, love to you guys, so much love. Oh, I almost forgot about this part. I colored my person in yellow because people tell me that, like a lot of my Uber customers have told me that I have such like a warm aura, like a bright, I just have like a bright, shiny vibe. So I put, boop. Sorry, that was the sound of me clicking. See, I keep making like little mouth sounds. But I tried to use yellow to represent who I feel like I am as a person, just like a bright person, even though I have my anger icebergs sometimes, and I definitely have those bouts of crying, but I think overall I try to be a sunshiny person to people. And I put little sparkles uh, to uh, to represent the spark that people say they see in me. Um, what changes have happened in your life lately, and how might you represent that in your drawing? Um, and as far as the hug goes, who in your life brings you warmth, and how might you express this visually? It's funny because I like low key kind of stole the hug idea from the video that I watched where like a bunch of people did this exercise, and one person said that their mom would always rub their shoulders, and it brought them a sense of calm, so they put the hands on the shoulders to represent their mom, bringing them comfort. So if there's somebody in your life that brings you comfort, whether it's a pet or a friend or a loved one, whoever it is, how might you express that in your drawing, inside your little gingerbread person? Also, quick shout out, by the way, to Dizzy the Bard. You helped me record this and did a freaking awesome job, and I recorded a couple other ones, and you're gonna see that they're not as good of quality because I did not have Dizzy the Bard to help me, because one of the things that happened recently that was hard is I got into a car wreck. I'm okay, but it put me out of work. It's really been difficult. That's kind of the least of my problems right now, but it's definitely one. But I wasn't able to go there to record the rest of them. But I'm really thankful I was able to get these recorded in good quality to show you guys. But yeah, what colors might you use to? So I colored my person yellow. What colors might you guys use to express the energy you have, or what energy you think you project onto the world? And I'm also curious, do you guys believe that that people can sense your vibes? I didn't think that that was such a true thing, but whenever I would drive customers around and be quiet and be in my own head, I realized it really put in a different mood, like, than if I was just, you know what, I'm not going to get angry on the way in traffic on the way to this person because I want to be in a good mood and I want to project good vibes. Or there was one day I got into a fight with my dad, and then a friend came over and brought his friend over that I had never met before, and his friend was like, I got some really bad vibes there, and it was because I had such a bad day and I just projected that. Even if I didn't say anything mean or be cold, just the way I presented myself, it came off that way, and people could feel that. So do you think people can feel your vibes or feel your energy? Do you believe that? What colors would you use to describe that? Oh, Liberace says, I like orange. It's always a funky color. Oh, I like that. Funky, like, so when you say funky, do you mean like groovy, or like fun, or quirky? Like what? I'd like to hear more about what makes you gravitate towards orange. Louis says, I think blue would suit me. I think intuitive people can sense my vibes. Intuitive. Did I say that right? Yes. There's also a compatibility thing. I bring some people peace, which is the vibe I try to cultivate, but others lock into my anxiety or particularities, which is unintended. Huh. I could definitely see peace and anxiety both being blue, because peace can be very calming. I mean, that's why Facebook and Twitter is blue, because we associate that with calming. I don't know if, I feel like I once read that had something to do with the sky. Maybe not. Maybe that's full of crap. I'll be honest if I feel like I'm sounding like I'm full of dog poop, but I think it's quirky. Oh, I like that. Cool. I'm excited to see your person colored up all orange and all the things that you're gonna put into it. I really hope that you guys do try these exercises, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts about it. But yeah, and on the other hand, blue meaning anxiety, it's like that comes off as like a sad color too. So I really like how it sort of works in double. I wanted to say double entendre, but that would not be the right word. Again, smoke too much ganja in Oregon, and my word recall is not great. Vibes are real, and I think I'm red, orange, brown. I completely agree that vibes are real. I feel like a lot of us can agree on that. Actually. And so you say you feel like you're red, orange, and brown. What makes you gravitate towards those colors? Um, because I think red and orange, uh, like even the way Liberace described it as, oh, it's quirky, but somebody else could be like, oh, it's a warm, inviting color, or somebody else could be like, oh, it's an angry color. Like the way that these colors could represent so many things. I'm really excited to hear like how does red, orange, and brown resonate with you? Um, and so that's the rest of that exercise. I'm gonna show you some more, but what did you think of that exercise, and what would you put in that person, and how do you think it would help you? And it really helped me process a really difficult change and a really difficult loss in my life um, that I went through recently. So that's what this did for me, and I'm curious how you feel that that it would help you. Um, it reminds me of Fire Earth. Feels fundamental in what it communicates to people. Um, Speaking of, I think your picture looks very elemental, so I like it a lot. Oh, thank you. I'm really glad that you like it. Um, and fire and earth, fundamental. Could you explain a little bit more of that? Cause I'm like, do you mean you feel in tune with nature, or like in what ways do you relate to that? Also, I'm gonna step away for just a quick second to take a quick bathroom break, but I'd love to hear more about what you guys would put in your person, and how you how you feel that you would express yourself and what colors and strokes you would use. I'll be back in a quick moment, and any comments that you guys leave, I'll respond to it right away. I'm gonna quick run to the bathroom, and I'll run back as soon as possible. Okay, BRB. Oh, but real quick, I'm gonna rewind some of this so if somebody comes into the chat, they don't think I'm not doing anything. Okay, I'll be right back. Draw a heart. All of my feelings are contained inside here. Oh, shit. Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. I was talking this whole time and I could not fucking I guess whenever I picked up my headphones, whenever I dove into the thing, my fucking mic died, Shorty Pop. Oh wow, I didn't realize. Oh, you guys were trying to tell me and I missed your comments. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't see that. I got so excited talking about the thing. Well, in that case, I'm definitely gonna stay a little longer on this to make up for the few minutes that you guys missed. But thanks so much for being patient. There you go. Yay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. It was only since you got back. Okay. Yeah. So basically what I was saying in this next exercise, it's you draw a shape. It could be a circle, it could be a heart, whatever you want to draw, but everything that you draw inside of that is protected and it's safe. So I had gone through something really difficult and I was expressing my feelings about it, and I sort of painted it. I created a scene about it. So we had originally I started using darker colors so you could actually see what the hell I was doing after a little bit, because I realized that it was hard to see. Also, the video cut off before I could finish it, so I'll show you a picture of it at the end too. But we talked about the anger iceberg, seeing what's underneath our anger, how our anger affects other people, realizing the emotions we weren't addressing. We talked about the person, where we put who we are on the inside and express ourselves as just who we are. And this is sort of about my feelings, or about our feelings. So I drew a heart and I drew some water, and like we were saying before, like water could have a lot of different meanings. What would you guys put inside your circle? What kind of scene might you paint or draw or color to represent stuff that you've been going through recently? Or if you don't know what you draw, you know, what have you been going through recently? And if you guys in the chat have any ideas of how somebody might express that, we're all here for each other. Help get each other through that. But yeah, I'm gonna outline this stuff so people could see what I drew in a second there. But I drew water and I drew my hand sticking out because I felt like I was drowning or sinking, and reaching out for help. So yeah, what have you guys been feeling in your life lately, and how might you express this in your shape drawing? And in this, I drew a Bowie in the water, and I tried really hard to make it not look like a penis because I forgot what a Bowie looked like, and I did not want to make it look like a wiener. But I was reaching towards somebody who's pulling away and chasing something I can never reach. And the wind is blowing to the left towards me, as indicated by the flags at the top, but the buoy is still leaning away. But then I also have, people in my life that I feel like are rescuing me out of that. So I drew a ladder, almost like a helicopter was coming with a ladder down to pull me out. So I'll talk a little bit more about those things. Oh, I forgot I have it right here. Yay. Actually, I'll make myself big for a second so you can see. But yeah, so wait. Meow. 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 Trying to mess with the lights. Yeah. So I drew the waters and me reaching out, and the ladder represents friends who are here for me and coming to pull me out and rescue me. And I'm gonna pull back to well, actually, while we talk about the ladder, what sources do you have in your life that bring you comfort when you feel like you're sinking. Um, the rose-colored glasses. I I love referencing BoJack Horseman because I feel like it just speaks so many truths, honestly, about life. And one of my favorite quotes is when you wear when you wear rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. And you could have this with anybody in your life, friends or family or whoever. And so in this, it's representing those glasses falling off, and just sort of a wake up call. Uh, so how would you guys represent that? Um, as far as what things in life bring you comfort when you're sinking? And as far as the rose-colored glasses things, have you guys ever heard that phrase before about you know, about when you wear rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags? And how have you guys related to that? Like, have you had friends in your life that you were really close with, or family in your life that you were really close with, but you didn't notice these things? I'm really curious how you guys might relate to that, or how you might express it in your art. Um, and Are there, in what ways in your life do you think you might be ignoring the red flags that you haven't even realized yet? Um, I drew an island symbolizing the necessary alone time I need. And I put footprints in the sand, meaning feeling the sand beneath my feet, being symbolic of taking steps forward and grounding myself. Um, and what do you feel like you might need to carry you forward, and in what ways might alone time be a form of self care for you? I think I spend more of my life trying to take off crimson shades. All the flags just look like flags. Or all the flags just look like red flags. Oh, whoa. You turned that on its head. That's crazy. Um, oh, here's where the video cut off because of my. Oh, look at that. A boom. We got the whole ass picture right here. Um, I think that's a great way to interpret that, and I really like how you took that and you made it into your own thing. And it sounds like anxiety has been a huge source of conflict in your life. Um, and I think finding an artistic way to express that, I'm really glad that I really hope that this is helpful, and I hope that this is helping. I find comfort in those I do trust, you included, trying to figure out how to represent that symbolically. Aw, well, I trust you guys too, and I'm really glad to have you guys in my life. I can't tell you how thankful I am. Um, Actually, I had a conversation with Dizzy the Bard, uh, because I was saying, I really want this. I want this stream to get big. I want. I really care about it. I want to be able to make a living off of it someday. This and that. And he said, you don't do things with the expectation of it getting big. You do things because you love them. And if they get big, then great, because other people love it too. But you just got to do it because you love it. And the fact that I started this because I love doing it, and the fact that you guys are also supportive. See, I want to get emotional a little bit because I feel like I'm underneath, like, crying happy tears. But just the fact that you guys have been coming to these streams and so supportive just means so much to me. And I can't even, like, fully express how meaningful it is that you guys care about this. And I really love coming here and every week preparing and talking to you guys about what I learned. And it's been such a journey of growth for me, everything I learned doing this. And aside from the art therapy, just this whole stream, like, I would love to hear, what do you feel like you've gotten out of coming to these streams, and how do you feel like it's helped your life? I would really love to hear um, the ways that this has affected your day to day life. And I really hope that this has had a positive impact and you guys keep coming, and it makes me feel like it has. Um, Liberace says, I think it really shows you care. You put a lot of work into this and are practicing things you teach. Well, thank you. I agree with Liberace. You've put so much into this, and the enthusiasm is contagious. Well, thank you guys. It feels really good to hear that. Um, goodness. Oh, um, the hills in the background represent my home state where I live, and that's my family, my friends, where I'm rooted. And there's a house that represents, I am going to be moving into a house, it looks like, soon, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. So seeing that out in the distance and knowing that that's coming brings me a lot of comfort. And there's a really long path to get there, and I will have to spend time on a lone island to get there. But it's, yeah. And the mountains in the background represent the West Coast, where I would really like to move someday. I personally really like this because I feel like I need to talk about someone. I need to talk to someone about what's bothering me, and this stream gives me great advice on how I can tackle things one at a time. Oh, I missed V Falcon's comment. Thanks for being here, Heart. It's important to check in on one's mental health, and your stream helps me do that. I can't even tell you. I literally can't even tell you how much that means to me to hear that, because, like, I'm sorry. I knew at some point I was gonna cry on the stream, and I didn't want to. But I felt very lost for a while, and I felt like I didn't know what I was doing with my life, and I felt really lost during quarantine, and this stream has really helped me feel like I have a purpose, and just hearing from you guys that this has brought you so much, it means so much to me. I'm sorry, I'm like crying like a baby. This is supposed to be me making you guys feel better, and I'm just crying. But they're happy tears. It means so much, because it's really been a journey. It's okay to cry. We love you. Oh, I love you guys too. Oh, I'm gonna mess up the makeup that I did specifically for the stream. Oh my god. That felt good to get that out. Thanks so much, guys, for saying all that. That really means so much. I'm so glad you guys come here every week and that you care about this. And oh, this is a different exercise I did. It's funny because I mentioned earlier in the stream that art therapy isn't necessarily art therapy unless it was designed by an art therapist. And before I learned that, I tried creating my own. I was like jotting down my own ideas of stuff I wanted to do, and I wanted to make a happy place. And apparently that is already an art therapy exercise that actually exists, and it made me feel good that I had come to that conclusion as well. And the suggestion was like, oh, you could get a shoebox and some popsicle sticks. But again, I wanted to make this something anybody could do with stuff that's laying around their house and not have to, like, spend money. Thanks for the hearts, you guys. I love you guys so much. But yeah. I wanted this to be something that anybody could do without having to spend any extra money, even if you just have highlighters or crayons or whatever. I wanted this to be something you guys could do. I don't know why for this one I just used a pencil. I think I was just like, I didn't really do any coloring with this one, but I wanted to draw a happy place. And it's so funny because before I realized I was moving, I tried to draw, you can see I did this on my kitchen floor, and I like propped my phone. I like put like the blender on top of my phone to hold it up. So this is definitely not as good of quality as the ones that Dizzy the Bard shot for me. And some of this is this this happy place is based on my friend's house because like she has such a cool setup that I'm like I want this. Uh, so I drew a house and there's a porch and there's a hot tub, and that's the hot tub is in my happy place. Um, what would you guys put in your happy place, by the way? Um, I'm putting chairs in mine for places for my friends to sit, because my friends are important to me, and just having the idea of having gathering spaces where everybody can come together and spend time together. Um, I really like that. So if you can think of any ideas of stuff that you'd put in your happy place, I feel like a lot of us would put hot tubs in our happy place. Let's just like be honest here. um, Hot tubs. Yes. Yes. Actually, the place that I shall be. Oh, and I put little Edison lights around the porch. Um Actually, I got my friend some Edison lights who has a hot tub because I was like this just needs Edison lights, and I put them up for her while she was building a bonfire, and she uh she just loved them so much. So it just brought like a nice glowy happy vibe, and I would just love to have something like that. Um cuz lighting is so important to me, like just having that like warm cozy atmosphere. Um what about you guys? Do you think you guys would put a lot of chairs in your happy space for your friends, or do you think your happy space would be more of a secluded space for you to be by yourself? Oh, did I? I'm gonna just gonna check my notesies real quick. Oh, also in regard to the previous one, I wanted to ask you, since I was talking about like things up ahead in my life. I guess I could keep letting this play, but ah, good back crack. I wanted to ask you guys what you see up ahead in your life and what types of dreams are you currently working towards or would like to start working towards, and what dreams have you reached? Um, and what kind of strokes or colors might you oh wait, I did ask that part. Um, ba, 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 ba. I also see a house. Floor cushions or lily pads. Oh, I like the idea of the lily pads. That's super cute. Comfy chairs, definitely. Mine would be a duality. Equal parts social and private. My room is really important, but I want a cozy shared space. I really like that. That's really cool. I love that you guys are coming forward within the chat, and um I love that you guys have this happy place, and I hope that you guys can find ways to incorporate these little things in your current space so that you can have a little happy space in your current space. I was looking through my notes and I actually forgot to mention part of the previous exercise. After you draw what's in your heart shape or circle shape, whatever shape you use, you ask the drawing questions. I'm going to hop back to that real quick. Um, you ask the drawing questions. So you say, "What is your name?" I wrote this Peace in Time. I named it Peace in Time, because you know, I just uh, I don't want, not that you should wait for the future to be happy, but just seeing good things up ahead was very comforting to me. Um, and what might actually I didn't get a chance enough to talk about this one. I feel bad. Um, what do you think might be inside your heart shape or your circle shape? I'm just gonna call it a shape. What do you think might be inside your shape to express your feelings? And if you can visualize it, what do you think you would name it? You also would ask your drawing, where have you come from? Um, and I felt like this drawing came from deep in my heart, from my friends. Um, and you ask the drawing, why are you here? And I felt like it came here to tell me everything will be okay. And that I have the strength to get through this, more strength than I know. Um, and in regards to that, I'd love to hear like what gives you guys courage to know you can carry forward through difficult times? Um, and how would you measure your strength? And is it friends? Is it family? Is it art? Like what gets you through tough times? Like I know when my grandma was dying, like I played violin like a motherfucker to get through that shit. Like what gets you through difficult moments in your life? Um, and the other questions you ask your drawing is there anything important I should know about you? And I wrote, it's a long process, but you have many good things ahead. Um, and I wrote, the other question was, what do you need? When you talk to your drawing, you say, what do you need? And it felt like the drawing was telling me for me to stop chasing what I can't have, to focus on my friends, to take time for myself, and to follow the path, and most importantly, to enjoy the journey and not just focus on the destination. Um, and in what ways have you guys chased what you couldn't have? Whether or not it's a job, a person, a friend, um, a lifestyle. Uh, in what ways have you chased something you felt like you couldn't have? Um, I also asked my drawing, what do you want? Uh, and I wrote for me to focus on the present. And what do you not want? For you to cling to the past or rush towards the future. Um, Actually, how often do you guys see yourself focusing on the past or living in the future rather than being present in the moment? Louis says, I think my friends are so important because I find fulfillment in my relationships with them. It drives me to be loyal. Oh, I missed some of your other messages, guys. I'm so sorry. A hammock would be fun too. I didn't see that. I like that idea. Also, V Falcon, I'm curious where the idea of lily pads came from. I really do like that. Um, so Louis said, I think my friends are so important to me because I find fulfillment in my relationships with them. It drives me to be loyal and reliable, and sometimes that becomes the full focus of my life. Recently, I spent my birthday on an airplane returning from a wedding I would never miss. So I think my heart space would contain, or maybe wholly be, a lockbox. And there are many locks on it, and my friends each have a different key. I love that analogy. Actually, I used to go to church, and the pastor talked about how we all have different. It was a very similar analogy, actually. Um, he said that we all have different boxes that we need filled, and we can't expect one person to fill all these boxes. Maybe you're a goofball, but your friend isn't a goofy person, and you have to get that from another person. But that's okay, because this friend offers you comfort when you're down and knows that you'll be there for them too. Or maybe you just have friends where you like to send memes back and forth and smile and things like that. Like, it's I really like that lock analogy. I It's so crazy that you came up with that because oh, that feels a lot better on my head. I figured out how to tighten my headphones. All the time I look back on the past way too much compared to the future. It's really interesting that you say that because I've been there, there were times where I would focus so much on shit that happened in high school, and I went through so much pain of like just reliving shit that I wish I would have said, or wanting to be cooler back then, and taking the time to know myself, and seeing the years go by and me still doing this. It was really detrimental to me because I just wasted hours and hours in this fantasy land, and it felt like I could never escape no matter how badly I wanted to. And whenever I started reaching out to some of these people that I wanted to talk to, not because I wanted to talk about the past, but just because I wanted them in my life now. It really brought me this closure. Um, I'm curious, do you know of some ways that you feel might help you not get sucked into the past? Um, Liberace. Or the rest of you guys too, like if you find yourself getting trapped in the past, is there something you feel you can do or that you need to do to get to a point where you don't get lost in that fantasy world anymore? Because it can be so harmful, that abstract rumination of thinking about things that never happened and you can never go back to. It really hurts us, and the irony is it starts as a coping mechanism because we're hurting, but it ends up hurting us more and more the more we dive into it. Um, Even in my last job, I felt like such a loser to some people, and I would imagine myself proving myself to them. And it was just the other day that I had something that reminded me of an old coworker, and I went to go into that fantasy land, and I stopped, and I just like I happened to be in the bathroom because I was like getting ready, and I just like looked at myself in the mirror, and I thought, wow, this is the first time that I don't feel like fantasizing about this and getting lost in this fantasy world of the past, of wishing I had said this. And I never thought I'd get to that point. It just felt like such a relief. So if there's, I mean, and that came from going through a lot of hurt and realizing that I don't have to prove myself to people, um, and that I was seeking approval from the wrong people. Um, so if there's times that you find yourself going into that toxic abstract rumination where you're hurting yourself, and you can think of ways, or if you've been through that and you've gotten through it, definitely feel free to share it in the chat of how you got through that. Um, Another thing that you ask your drawing whenever you're done with it is, would you have to give something up to get what you want? And for me, it was fear. Fear of being lonely, fear that my dream won't be coming true, things like that. Uh, and what needs do you have, and what do you feel you might need to give up to get what you want? And would you compromise on your dreams? What sacrifices could you see yourself making? And is there some part of you that has that need met? Oh, I'm missing some chats. I'm sorry, you guys. Um, did you ever watch, Louis says, did you ever watch Korra? There's a great line from a villain who caused trauma. Quote, "The battle is over." I hear those words echo in my head whenever I'm ruminating in the past. Wow. And V Falcon says, I learned the only way to get over regret / ruminating is living in the present so there's nothing to regret. Yeah, I think sometimes that's easier said than done, because it's like you can tell yourself over and over again, hey, it's not good to live this way. Hey, I need to live in the present. But just like, an addict who reaches for the bottle again or reaches for the needle again when they don't want to, it's like you keep going back to that. And the hard thing about being addicted to your thoughts is you can access that anytime. You don't have to need to go to the liquor store and have enough money to go buy this and get a ride home or whatever the hell. It's like, no, at any moment you can get trapped in that. And that's what makes it really hard. So if that mantra, telling yourself the battle is over and to live in the moment so you have nothing to regret, I think that's beautiful that you guys have found ways to cope with that. Because it's not easy. What do you guys feel like you might have to give up to get what you want in life? And are there things you would compromise on? And is there a part of you, and the other question that you have to ask your drawing is, what part of you has some of these needs met? And I put the love of my friends and family, and the wisdom to know my path, and the courage and strength and maturity to carry on. And I want to thank you guys too, because you guys have really helped meet that need of just getting that comfort and feeling like I have that purpose. Um, and it keeps me carrying on. Um, what needs do you feel like you have met? And again, you're asking this to your drawing. And I really, side note, really do encourage you guys to look up art therapy exercises on YouTube. Some of them aren't very helpful, but some of them, a lot of the ones on the main page were very helpful and were the ones that I watched. I should have had the foresight to copy and paste the YouTube links of the ones that I did watch, but whenever I post this on YouTube later, I'll be sure to put the links in the description of the videos I did watch to get these. Because I'll go through my YouTube history. Um, and so yeah. I'm curious, what needs do you feel like you guys do have met, and what blessings can you count in your life, and what are you grateful for? Because that's what's been helping me get through a lot of difficult things is just counting my blessings and being thankful for as much as I can be, because it just that's I feel like that's the only way to get through is if you stay grateful and you look on the positives. There is such a thing as toxic positivity where you don't let yourself feel things out at all, but or you tell people they shouldn't feel things because they should be happy. That's toxic positivity. But when you take the time to be like, no, I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm going to focus on, maybe this happened, but I have my friends. Like whenever I wrecked my car, I was stranded, but I had several friends that were like, do you want me to come out and get you? And that kind of stuff I'm so grateful for. So yeah, thanks for being patient with me while I go back and talk about the previous drawing. Um, the happy place exercise. I really liked what you guys were saying about, putting in, having a space for just friends and having a space for just yourself, or having soft cozy places to relax like the hammock, or like excuse me, I gotta like mute my mic if I'm gonna burp into it. That was so gross. But like a hot tub to relax in, or a hammock, or cozy floor cushions. It sounds like having a comfortable place to sit and just exist is just a big part of it for you guys. I put a fireplace into mine and a TV, and this is a magical TV that whenever I want it to go away can just like a fucking super spy thing. Because sometimes I like having a TV in the living room, and sometimes it's like I just want to forget that it's there because it feels like it distracts me from just being in that space. And I'm putting like vines and stuff down the walls of like fake vines, because being around plants is calming to me. But I don't have a green thumb and have no, and I know that I can't I don't have the attention span or the consistency to take care of plants. Unlike my ferrets, which have faces, and I remember to take care of them. But plants don't have faces, and they don't talk, and they don't. I guess ferrets don't talk either. But anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. Um, So, in the vein of that, what kind of safe spaces do you have in real life, or what kind of spaces have helped you cope in the past? I mean, for me, when I was a teenager, I was going through a lot, and I lived in a bad neighborhood. Hell, I'm in my childhood home right now, and if I go outside at night, something bad would probably happen. So I didn't have a lot of options, but I would climb up on the roof, and that was the safe space that I would go to. I'd bring my MP3 player up there and listen to music. That helped me get through my parents' divorce, and when they would be fighting, it gave me a place to be where nobody could bother me because they couldn't climb up to the roof. So I was there myself. My friendship needs are met, as well as my job financial security. I'm pretty decent at taking care of my health too. Aw, well, all of you guys are are reasons why my friendship needs are met too, and I'm really glad you feel that way as well, Louis the Claw. Um, and that's great that you're able to have the security in your job and your finances, because taking the time to recognize like I have this and not everybody has it, like I think that's great you're able to do that. And oh, I can make this full screen. Right. Did we learn? um but I think that that's really great that you're able to count your blessings, uh and also the fact that you're decent at taking care of your health. Hell, I called my friend the other or yesterday, and she mentioned about showering, and I thought, wow, I can't remember the last time I showered. And I was like, not that I like didn't shower in the past week, but like I was like, I should make more of a habit to do that because it feels good and it's a form of self-care. Or and now I woke up this morning and I took a shower and it felt so good. Like it felt like a great way to start the day. Um and so doing those things to take care of your health, like I'll try to eat healthy too. And I've definitely had some buffalo chicken dip today, but I also had watermelon and other stuff that was good for me. So I think that's great you're able to take care of your health like that. Oh, I'm drawing more plants. Oh, over on the side here. Oh, you can see my mouse. Yay. I drew a keyboard to play music. I drew a big couch that all my friends could sit at. I drew a coffee table. There may or may not be some joints there, who knows. I drew a big fluffy rug in front of the fireplace and a little ferret bed that my ferrets can cuddle. And I drew a table where me and my friends could sit and play board games, and some string lights, because I am a slut for string lights. Um, and some posters and art on the wall. I drew a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, and so Louis the Claw mentioned about how he'd have some spaces where he would have friends gather, and some spaces in his happy place that would just be for him. I'd love to hear from you guys. What kind of gathering spaces might you put in your safe space? Um, or what kind of spaces do you already have for that? Um, and I put about, oh, I can pull up the drawing now because the video finished. I'm so bummed that my phone cut off before that video could finish, because Scout, my ferret, came up and he was like looking up at the camera, and it was so cute, and I was so excited for that to come up in the stream. And then I went to watch it and it had cut off, and it was just like, oh, sorry, Scout, your debut is, but this is there a way I can zoom in on this? Zoomy zoom. Yeah. Um, this was my finished happy space. I also put this little thing in the corner. I found on Amazon these like little tents, and they're for kids, but they have like lights coming down, and I just pictured like putting a bunch of pillows and stuffed animals and just sitting in it and just like small spaces give me comfort. I don't know. Do you guys feel that way? Like, have you ever felt comforted by a small space? Like, I know there's people that are claustrophobic, but I actually sometimes feel more intimidated in giant spaces, because it's like if I'm in a small space, it just feels cozy. Like if I'm in a house and the ceilings are like super high, I'm just like, okay. I like cubbies and corners. I gravitate toward. Oh, I missed a couple of these. This is so cool, stealing your ideas for my shared space. Yay! I'm so glad. And yes, I like cubbies and corners. I gravitate towards them. When I was like a teenager, there's a cabinet. It's still downstairs. There was like a shelf missing, and it was like probably like yay big by yay big. And I would just like, as a teenager, I would just crawl in it, and I would just close the door, and I would just sit here like I would just sit there like this for like an hour, just like. Um, so I totally understand like loving the cubbies and the corners. Uh, Totally gonna get one of those tents, I think, whenever I get a house, one of those little cubby corners. Or tent thingies for the corner where there's lights and cozy pillows. I'd have to check with my future housemate if that would be okay, but that's That's the dream, baby. um, aw, little happy face. Coziness is very important. It fucking is. It fucking is. Um, and I mentioned about how I have places for my ferrets to play and why. If you guys have pets, how do they help you cope? And what kind of accommodations have you made for your fur babies in your current space? Or what would you like to do for your pets if you could in your happy place? Oh, on this wall, I wrote I forgot, I put a ferret tube wall where they could just. That's a sound. That's my best impression of a sound that ferrets make when they're excited. Uh, they're just crawling through that. It was a very bad imitation of the sound, but yeah. What kind of space might you give for your pets in your happy space? Um, and and how does that give you purpose? Um, I also liked putting sources of music, like the piano, in here, and it reminded me of my grandma. What kind of hobbies would you put in your safe space? Or what kind of hobby related things do you have in your current space that give you peace? I know Liberace, you have your computer to do your artwork on, and I'm curious to hear what other hobby related things do you guys have in your safe space? Like, even if it's not in when you draw, like, just going back to counting our blessings of what we already have in our life. Maybe you have artwork from a friend hanging up, or a gift from a friend that you could look over to and smile, or a silly picture, or whatever it is. I'd love to hear what you have in your current spaces that help make that space a happy space. And I'm so glad you guys were so participative in this chat and really got a lot out of it. Ba, 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 ba. Did I talk about all the things? Yes. Okay. I am gonna go over today on the chat. Like, I'm gonna go longer than normal because I did miss some of it, and just in general, I have some other stuff that I wanted to share with you guys, because I did want to go over that list of 10 things to get to the root of any problem, and I'll be going over that in a minute. Once I got an ergonomic chair for my computer desk. I liked working on the computer a lot more, not just because the chair feels way better, but because it was one of my first grown-up purchases. I also love having my Tarzan and Anastasia movie posters up, but they fall down after one day. But for the one day they were up, or wait, did I read that right? But they fell down after one day, but for the one day they were up, I felt like they were great. Did you hang it up with sticky tack? Because I've noticed whenever I hang things up with sticky tack and it gets cold out, it like makes the sticky tack like contract and it doesn't grip as well. And like, I had a poster that fell down in my bedroom and it was like laminated and it was leaning against the wall for a really long time. And finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hang this back up again. And I went to grab it and the sticky tack had like fused to the wall so hard, like it just ripped the fucking paint off the wall. That just made me think of that. But that's really awesome that you were able to get. I totally relate to getting that ergonomic chair, because it like sucks whenever you're hunched over and you're like typing, and like you get that like that shoulder shit where you got that neck pain and the lumbar pain, and having something where you're like, all right, now I feel like an adult because I got myself this. Like, I'm really glad that you have that in your happy space. Yeah, they're like command hooks with super sticky tape, but the posters are framed so they're a bit too heavy. I'm going to invest in some heavy duty ones. Oh yeah, fucking the landlord shit. Man, landlords can suck a dick. I don't know why, but I was like, what if a landlord is listening in on this? But I'm just, that was a mean joke. I shouldn't have said that. I just meant it because it was just like, it just sucks whenever you can't put what you want in your happy space because of some sort of dumb rule that a landlord imposes. But I'm glad that you are finding ways to put that in and make it work. And I'm really proud of you. And I'm really happy for you that you're finding a way to make that happy space a reality for you. In my dining room, there is an elegant tiger wall scroll. Mounted by a silly teddy bear, Ted. My friend arranged those items as a prank. Um, but I feel like it represents me really well. I love that. The mounted teddy bear head is my favorite. My BF has curtains hung up with a stick of RAM. It works. A stick of RAM? Like, wait, what does that mean? Like, I don't know why, but I pictured like a ram's hook or a ram's horn or something. I'm like, what the hell is a stick of RAM? Maybe I like live under a rock. Tiger Scroll sounds really cool. Louis the Claw says, that's amazing, Liberace. And Liberace says, like you'd put in a computer. My brain isn't processing that. I don't understand. How did he hang something up with a stick of computer? Is RAM like a physical thing? I just thought that was like memory. Oh, I guess it's a physical thing. Okay, I guess I answered my question. I don't know. He shoved it in there somehow. Well, that's fucking cool either way. Yeah, they look like metal rectangles. Oh, okay. See, I learned I learned a lot from you guys today. Ooh, that's really hot. I should take that off of the bed. Yeah, I guess so. I never built my own PC, but he took it out of an old PC. That's really cool. I see why Louis the Claw was interested in that too, because you're really into computers. Yeah. Aw, I'm really glad that you guys have these nice things in your safe spaces that bring you a sense of comfort. As we're winding down, I'm gonna get back to the big screen. Ooh, big screen. Also, like, side note, what do you think of this area right now? Like, I know that normally I do it in my office / the ferret's room with the tapestry behind me, but what do you think of the stream taking place on a bed, like, surrounded by cozy pillows? Like, I'd love to hear your feedback on what you feel like the vibes are of this temporary setting. Also, I'll be streaming here next week too, because I'm gonna go back and visit my family again next week. I like the concave mirror. I like the cozy pillows, plus it's a cool room. Right? I think so too. I'm glad you guys like this. See, maybe someday whenever I get a biggie girl bed. Also, like, okay, this is unrelated, but side note. Oh, it doesn't work. There's like a little thingy that you touch. It's a little metal piece that you touch, and it turns these lights on, like, and then there's like plugs back here and shit. There's like a whole secret cubby that you could put shit, like glasses of water or whatever, and then you could slide these open, and this is just a cool fucking bed. Actually, like, look at this shit. And then there's like fucking a whole ass dresser and drawers and shit. Like, I thought that was super fucking cool, and I wanted to show you guys how cool that is. So I'm glad that you like this temporary space. Oh my god, also, can we just fucking take a second? My dad's girlfriend put this up here. So he's just gonna come back to chilling here. I know none of you guys noticed him before, but I needed to call him out. Little baby Yoda is hanging out with us today. So he's watching over us. Yes, right! Who would put Baby Yoda in their happy space? Show of hands in the chat. Is there a hand emoji? Show of my dad emoji in form of hand. You have one too. Oh, that's awesome. Always, yes. Yes! Ah! I fucking love that emoji. God damn it. I love it so fucking much. Boopy doop. Oh. Yes. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are like my hype man. For real. I love the vibes. These vibes are real, man, and you guys got good fucking vibes, and that's what I love about this chat. It's just like, it's just awesome people. And I'm gonna be wrapping up here in a minute, but well, I do still have a lot of things to say, but like, um, well, actually, I do want to take a second to thank you guys for, even though it's a busy holiday weekend or holiday week, you guys are still taking the time to come check this out and be here and be present with us. Um, I wanted to take a moment to talk about how art has been harmful to mental health and beauty standards. Much like how now celebrities are photoshopped to look a certain way, back then paintings were altered to be like beauty standards back in the day. And poor people couldn't access galleries, so they couldn't see these quote unquote perfect people uh, at the time. But we're constantly subjected to it, and we see these cosmetic procedures and things like that that we don't know aren't real, and we're always subjected to that. But poor people weren't around rich people; they never saw this stuff. Um, and back then, smooth shoulders, bigger eyes, smaller lips. Before the decade, hundreds of years before the Kylie Jenner lips came into style, it was actually more. It used to be considered an ugly trait, and teeny tiny lips were in. So I mean, it's all arbitrary how that works. It's like there's beauty in everybody, but there's been ways that art has made people feel like they have to look a certain way, whether that's paintings back in the day or Photoshop now. But because of the media, we're so much more exposed to it. Fun fact. Oh, fun facts, plural. Anna of Cleves was married to Henry the 8th. Wow. Nobody, whenever I fucking post this, I'm editing out the fact that I had to count what Henry VIII was, because I'm a goober. Married to Henry VIII because he saw her beautiful painted portrait, but she was German and they painted her with more English features to make her more attractive to the king. They got divorced after 4 months. Oh my god, I think I remember learning, because I remembered learning about something like that happening, and I think that's the story, actually. I never knew that it was Henry VIII, like, I couldn't remember the names, but I do remember that story. That's so funny that you bring it up. And I think that says a lot about getting with somebody just because of their looks. So in about a second here, I'm gonna go over the list of the list of 10 things to get to the root of any problem. Again, it's not literally to the root of any problem, but overall it helps you find where are you lacking in life, and then you can go from there after asking yourself these questions to figure out what art therapy exercise you might want to do research on to look up what might help you. I only learned about it from Six the Musical, but I had to look deeper into it. I've never seen that. I need to watch more musicals. Yeah, I remember. I like randomly remembered looking at or hearing about it in 8th grade. So before I tell you, I feel like one of those like those Watch Mojo videos where it's like top 10 questions to ask yourself to get to the root of any problem. Number 10. They always do it with that cadence of voice. Number 10. But before I get into you won't believe number 7. Louis, that's perfect. Oh, that's funky. Oh, I just realized this version of it shows the chat and this version of it doesn't. Well, I will make sure to fix that next time so that the recording gets your guys' chats. But yeah, what of the art exercises that we did today did you find most beneficial? And what exercises do you think you might try? What are you most excited to try? Your Watch Mojo voice! Fucking, I'm so glad that you like that. I got that from Jacob, actually. I want to try the gingerbread man. Ah, yay! I'm glad. What made you pick the gingerbread man? While I'm hearing from you guys as to what of which of the exercises you found most beneficial were, um, here's the top 10. The first one is how often. Oh wait, yes. I'm eager to try the circle heart shape in the gingerbread man. Aw, and the iceberg. Ah, you want to try all of them? That makes me so happy. Well, I guess there was also the happy place, but I think, I think we'll talk more about the happy place one later. But that I'm so glad. Oh, looking inside myself to see what I need, but also what I have. Aw, I'm so glad that you can get that from that. Louie, what makes you want to try the circle slash heart shape exercise and the gingerbread and iceberg? Is there anything specifically gravitating you towards those ones? Um, and while I wait to hear from you guys, the questions you ask yourself to get to the root of problems is one, how often do you meet up with friends? And that tells you about the attention you're getting and the community that you feel. Um, you know, I remember there was a time where I was so focused on, oh, I have to be working on art all the time, I have to be productive all the time, that I stopped hanging out with my friends, and that came out negatively whenever I got to work. I felt so desperate for that connection with people. I didn't realize how much that was hurting me as an extrovert, that that it was bleeding into my work life, where it made me come off as like weird because I wanted to get involved into all the conversations because I was cutting myself away from all of my friends in my personal life, trying to pour myself into being productive. Um, because I was saying in the chat I want to explore the heart shape. I want to draw that lockbox and see if there are other elements that come into it. The gingerbread man, I want to think about what's within me and how those thoughts are acting on me. Well, thanks, Louie, for sharing that, and I think that's great. And I'm really excited. I really hope that in the next stream you guys tell me like what kind of things you put in your person or your happy place or your heart slash circle or your anger iceberg. Um, oh, gauging gadgets. Did I say that right? Hello. Thanks for popping by today. What made you decide to come check out my stream? And it's also really good to see you. We were just talking about the 10 questions to ask yourself to get to the root of any problem. And I guess it's a bit of an overstatement because, you know, there's a lot of digging to get to the root of certain problems, but it helps give you a sense of direction for it. Yes, actually, most people don't. Oh, well, I'm glad I got it right. Yay. Interesting title. Oh, good. I'm really glad that you got that, that this interested you. And we're more towards the end of it now, but we're still going to learn some things. If you'd like to check out the exercises we went over, it's also going to be in my archive at the end of the stream because this is being recorded. So if there's anything you want to check out that we worked on earlier, I invite you to come check that out as well at the end of the stream. And thanks for coming today. I'm always really glad to have new people. The other question you can ask yourself, Gauging Gadgets, thanks for following. I appreciate that. You get a heart. And you get if I could, I said before I'd blue skidoo into the screen to give you guys all a big hug. Yeah, the other questions that you guys could ask yourself to get to the root of different problems is, can you and your partner really talk to each other? And that addresses attention and intimacy. And this could apply to friends or family. Don't ignore important conversations or compromise on things that you don't want to compromise. You have to be open with yourself and open with other people in your life. The other question to ask yourself to get to the root of problems is, how are you sleeping these days? And that goes into mind and body connection. Whenever I was staying up until 4 a.m. and sleeping until noon, it was fucking depressing because I would wake up when the sun was already up, and uh, I was going to, by the time it was nighttime, I would go hours where everybody else was asleep and I couldn't talk to anybody, and it felt really lonely. So how are you guys? And you feel free to answer these in the chat too if you want. I mean, it doesn't just have to be a hypothetical for yourself. Like, how are you sleeping, and how do you feel like it affects your mental health? I've actually quit coffee to try to help my sleep schedule, and I feel like I've been getting better sleep lately. Another question is, are you happy with your diet? That also goes into mind-body connection. You know, During quarantine, I was eating so much junk food that I was like practically getting sick. But after I tried to get fit after that, I was practically starving myself, and I wasn't happy with that either. So finding that moderation helped me. I went over sleep with my therapist a few months back, and it saved my whole session. Normally, this time of year, or it saved my whole season. Normally, this time of year, my circadian rhythm gets all screwed up, and I become sleep deprived and depressed. Oh, wow. I'm really glad. That's amazing that you were able to fight your seasonal depression by just getting better sleep. I never thought about that as a possibility. Um, Gauging Gadget says it's interesting that all these things I've known I am not doing, but just don't pay attention to. Oh, well, I'm really glad that you're getting something from this, and it makes me happy to hear that. But do you think after hearing this, these might be things that you pay more attention to? Satan is a Satanist. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna be very dyslexic for a moment and try to read the username right. Satanist Adam. Okay. Wow, my brain worked. Hi, how's it going? I have depression and I can't sleep. Help. Okay. Well, and he says congrats. Well, first of all, hi. I see you're a first time in the chat, so thanks so much for coming by, and I really appreciate you being here. And you said you have depression and can't sleep. When you say you can't sleep, do you have like insomnia, or do you feel like you're sleeping a lot throughout the day and can't fall asleep at night? I've realized, like, if I wake up in the morning and I feel well rested, but I don't feel like getting out of bed and I fall back asleep, I'll wake up more tired. So I've been forcing myself out of bed and not letting myself go back to sleep whenever I wake up and feel well rested, instead of letting myself go back to sleep. And I also have been trying not to let myself take naps, because I realize that kind of makes me more tired and makes it harder for me to sleep the next day. I love the Baby Yoda. Oh my god, I'm glad you noticed him, because like you were the first person to notice him without me pointing him out. So good on you. Also, Gauging Gadgets, I missed a couple of your other messages. Same with me, the sleep issues during this time of year. Yes, I think I need to. Okay. Well, I'm really glad that you found something in this stream that you can carry on through your personal life and work on, And Satanist Adam, do you feel like when I mentioned before about sleeping when you're already well rested and just don't feel like getting out of bed, or taking naps, or things like that, or also, do you spend a lot of time in bed whenever it's not time to sleep? Like, do you see yourself hanging out in bed all day versus, getting out of the bedroom? Like, could you tell me a little bit more about your sleeping habits? And, I could try my best to help and figure out, what might be causing them. And also, earlier in the stream, if you are depressed, I do encourage you to go to therapy if you can, and I know it's not something that everybody can afford. So, a resource for that, if you type in the city you live in on Google and type in nonprofit therapy or sliding scale therapy, um, sliding scale therapy, they let you pay just what you can afford. And nonprofit organizations are also very affordable therapy. So, outside of the stream, I definitely encourage you to go and seek out therapy as well. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I definitely am doing everything I can that I want to share my knowledge with you. And I hope that helps. Um, so, yeah, let me know. Let me know if that helps at all. Um, Also, how much exercise are you getting? And that goes into mind body connection. Um, I don't exercise at all now. I went through a period where during quarantine, I really wasn't exercising a lot, or I was doing it here and there. And then I went through body issues where I was working out to the point of like literally screaming and crying. Um, and that it was too much or too little. So, like, finding that balance is really important. So, do you guys feel like you incorporate even going on a walk or doing stretches in the morning? Like, how much exercise are you getting? And that goes in line with your mind body connection. Um, and the other important question to ask yourself is there anyone who you feel really understands you and is close to you? And that goes in line with intimacy. So, you know, do you have that in your life? I genuinely feel like I have people in my life who truly understand me. Um, Jacob being one of them. Like, I feel like I told him, I feel like you understand me better than I understand myself. Um, Another question to ask yourself is, what choice do you have about what happens in your life? So that goes in line with control and security. Louis the Claw mentioned about having security in his job. Uh, do you feel like you have a lot of freedom in what you do? Maybe you're financially not able to do the things you want to do. How much control and security do you have? So the other question to ask yourself is, do you have a clear sense of where you want to take things in life? Um, and that falls in line with meaning and purpose. Um, like for me during the quarantine, when I lost my job, I felt very lost, and streaming gave me purpose in life. So, let me know, do you guys feel like you have a clear sense of direction of where you want to take things in life? Um, Another question that you can ask yourself to get to the root of your problems is, do you feel excited by stuff in life? That goes in line with challenge, purpose, and meaning. I know quarantine really fucked this up for a lot of people because you really didn't have a lot to look forward to. You couldn't go travel, you couldn't go see friends, you couldn't go to any events. And it was really hard for a lot of people. Um, and being able to stream, being able to travel now, being able to see my friends has really given me things to look forward to. So I'd love to hear from you guys if you feel like if you feel excited about things in life, or if you don't really have things to look forward to. Another question to ask yourself is, what involvement do you have with the people around you? And that has to do with community and status. So, oh, I think my direction is becoming more clear. Interestingly, I'm more focused on the midterm than the long term generally. I'm excited about the coming year. I'm excited about the coming year too, Louis, and I'm really glad that you feel that way too, Louis the Claw. I think we all deserve to feel like we have a clear direction in life, and I really hope that all you guys feel that way too. Um, as far as the involvement in the people around you goes, volunteering, things like that can really bring purpose to your life. Helping people out in your life, being there for friends can help you. So, what involvement do you have with the people around you? I mean, I'd really love to, hear how you feel like you are involved with the community, and where you see yourself status wise. Streaming helps me feel involved with the community. It helps me feel involved with the people around me, um, and how people, view me. Um, Also, uh, another thing that you can do if you're feeling anxious or depressed or not really sure where to turn in life, this is at where we finished the 10 questions. If you want to Google later, like 10 questions to get to the root of any problem, Google will be like, yo, I got you, bro. So, if you want to look over those more later, they're there. But I wanted to talk a bit about dopamine detox. Um, and it's really helped me when I cutting out things that give immediate relief or immediate pleasure, uh, versus putting things in your life that don't give immediate pleasure, but after you finish them, give you pleasure. Like, if you work really hard on an assignment and you feel good that you got it done, or you build something or fix something around the house that you've been neglecting for a while, and now you can use that thing again. Cutting out things like weed or alcohol or porn or masturbating or binging on food or staying up late or online shopping, all of those things. I'm not saying that you have to completely cut out, junk food or online shopping or weed or jacking off. Like, I'm not saying you have to completely cut that stuff out, but even taking a day where you just detox from all that. You don't go on the internet, you don't go watch a TV show, you don't scroll on Facebook or Snapchat, you don't watch porn. Take a day where you just do productive things and see how you feel at the end of the day. And I started doing that, and I can't tell you how much better I feel about myself that I've taken the time to do these things that take longer to get. Like, I feel more joy from them than I did the empty joy of smoking a bowl and watching a TV show, too stoned out of my mind to know what was going on, and thinking that that would make me happy. Not saying that TV can't be a great way to unwind, but just for me personally, that dopamine detox has helped a lot. So yeah, after all of this, do you think you'll look more into art therapy? What did you learn today, and what did you feel like was most helpful? I really felt like, for me personally, learning about the dopamine detox and the Anger Iceberg was most helpful. It's kind of hard for me to decide actually what helped me the most, because also drawing that heart with the scene in it, reminding me that I have the strength to keep moving forward. Those are the things that help me. So I'd really love to hear from you guys. What did you find most helpful from the stream today? And as I wait to hear from you for that, we're going to wind down, because we went over a little bit on the stream. For those of you who've stuck around, thank you. Let's just take a moment to take a deep breath and close our eyes and think for a moment, and imagine something that represents how you feel. And if it is positive, cherish it and play with it. And if it's negative, acknowledge it and take time to understand it, and allow yourself to let it go, and ask your mind to present a new image of hope. Hold on to it and give it a color, give it a texture, give it music you like. I might think of my soft ferrets cuddling with the song that I made about them playing in the background. And as a final note, as we are about to peace out here, in an art therapy session, you can explain the art or not. The art therapy still continues either way. I think I missed a message. I plan to do the first 3, and I'll send my creations along. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm really excited to see what you guys create. I'm really glad you guys came here today. Thank you so much. Be sure be sure to check out the archive if you missed anything from the stream. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great Thanksgiving, and just know that this is a space of no judgment, and you are loved, and I'm so glad that you guys came here today. Same, once I finish up my gingerbread man, I'll send you a pic. Aw, I can't wait. You guys, you have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for streaming even though you're busy with family. Aw, thank you, Liberace. I don't have my sign-off buddy today, but I might have... No, she's not here. My dad's cats are not here to come say goodbye. I thought Cinder was gonna pop in, but I had the door closed too far for her to come hop up on the bed. I was really excited. You might see her next week, because I'll stream here next week too. Because I'm going back home for the weekend, but I'm gonna come back here. Alright. Well, thank you guys so much for showing up. Blue skidoo into the screen to give you guys a big warm hug. Good night, everyone. Good night, Shorty Pop. Okie dokes. Have a good night, everybody, says Liberace and Louis the Claw. Alright. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you could come. You guys take care and have a great night.